A talk box? Are you serious? Hey guys, Richie Sambora called. He wants his shtick back.
Cool.
Welcome to Church Jams Now, the podcast where three former youth group kids and current music nerds deep dive into Christian music from the 90s and 2000s. I, of course, am your co-host, Kylan Savage. With me, as always, is Mr. TJ Smith.
Man, that is just a shock to hear that I get to talk to Roman again. It's a shock.
And, of course, joined by no good son himself, Mr. Josh Olson.
Hey, TJ, listen close. That was going to be my bit. Okay. So I'm a little mad.
Sorry. And stepping up, guys, returning for the third time?
Third time.
Third
yeah.
time.
Third time's a charm.
Roman Haviland, everybody.
Hey!
I gotta say, I think, is he tied with Cody Driggers now?
That's the funny thing, because I was like, I'm planning to tweet about this, but every time I think about it, I have to wait a couple episodes because all of our current right now, and then we have another going to be returning third time guests are all bassists between Cody, Ty, Roman, and then Jerry.
Oh yeah. We just love bassists. We love sweet bass on this show.
That makes sense because the bassist is the one that nobody cares about after the band's done.
But we do.
That's who we hone in on. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
I'm also fine. I'm going to petition right now to change our name to Bass Jams Now.
Bass Jams Now. Oh, buddy,
do y'all remember
that would go viral.
That we talked about an Oops All Bass album with Cody and Roman?
That's right.
So
That's right. I forgot.
I wanted to get an update. I wanted to check in and see if any progress has been made. We need to get Ty in the conversation.
That's true.
Like, we need to just have all the superpowers align.
That's true.
Make this happen.
Here's what's
clearly
all there in Nashville.
We're falling asleep at the wheel.
Yeah.
It's been a year?
Yeah.
I can't believe it's been a year already, man. I moved into a new apartment too, like literally the same month that we did our podcast, and I just renewed my lease the other day, and I couldn't believe it was a year already.
Yeah.
Here's how much I love bass, though. You want to know how much I love bass as a bassist? How much it just never leaves you?
Tell us.
Yeah.
I have a bass guitar at home that I use for recording all my own stuff.
Like that was the whole story. You want to know how much I love bass? I have a bass guitar.
I have one, right? And so I got my work bonus like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I have at least 5 other things I should be buying with that money, right?
Right.
But I've been just messaging people on Facebook Marketplace about basses, and I've wanted to see like 2 or 3 of them. There's no reason for me to buy it. I have literally the exact bass I was going to buy at home already. But
I get it.
I want that new color, with different pickups.
Mm-hmm. It's got to match your outfit. Sometimes you're wearing something different. You got to have a different finish going on,
That's true.
Literally,
That's true.
That's right.
It just doesn't leave you.
Best accessory. Guys, it's our third annual Maylene.
It sure is.
Josh, how do you feel about this? As the one who initially came up with the concept, this is like our most consistent sort of feature on the show, right?
Yeah, I mean, 3 years running. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah. Our other like kind of spin-off-y feature kind of things, like we have Secular Jams Now, which we have only done 2 of those. We've only done 2 Dial In for Martins. Maylene is like it's like a cornerstone of Church Jams Now at this point.
It is. I mean, we do the wedding every year in April, but we don't have like a catchy name for that.
That's true.
Much.
And it doesn't have its own theme
perfect.
song. Yeah. Its own.
And we did June Zeta, but like they need to make some more music for us to keep.
That was like, that up. Yeah, exactly. So. Can't do that again unless they.
I like the idea of Secular Jams Now, though.
Secular Jams Now is fun.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's a
I mean, the
blast.
way like Maylene lived on the road, you could probably throw us into that one too. So.
Lumpy into there.
Yep. It would
That's
count.
great. So I will tell listeners, if this is your first Maylene, welcome, you psycho. Go back and listen to our previous. We've covered Maylene 1 and 2, and we have an interview with Roman from way back in the day. So go check those out. Usually at this point, we would do like origin story, but Roman, you're an old pro. You're a friend of the
You're an
show.
OG.
We don't need to get into all of that. So, Josh, I don't know what to do now.
I mean, we
broke Kylan.
We can go to. It seems like you need some help. Maybe you need to go to just your favorite part of the show, Kylan. Just return to a good old friend.
Yes, my favorite part of the show, the research. I'm so excited. I'm so excited to get into this. What album are we talking about?
Well, it's our third Maylene year, and so it's time for Maylene
4.
3.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's how that
I didn't
works.
carry the 1. Yep, that's it.
Carry the
You're
1.
right. Yeah.
Third one? Okay.
That is right. Yes,
Three.
yes. Third one. So, if I may jump into the research here, we're covering, of course, Maylene and Sons of Disaster, who we've had. I like going through the members. We've had only a big member changeover from the last time, from our last Maylene episode. We only have 2 members remaining from the last record. So, for members for this record, we have Dallas, and I love that y'all always include the middle names for everyone. So I'm going to go through vocals.
Yeah,
we
it's a
have
nice
Dallas.
touch.
Is it Taliaferro Taylor? I think I ask every time.
But believe it or not, that's pronounced Tolliver, if I have it wrong.
Tolliver.
Which is interesting. Yeah.
That is an interesting spelling. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, Dallas Tolliver
like
Taylor. Sorry, Dallas. On guitar, triple guitar attack. Of course, we've got Chad David Huff, Jacob Lewis Duncan, and Kelly Scott Nunn, all new recruits on 6 strings. Holding it down on bass and vocals is Mr. Roman Channing Haviland. I think I've heard of him before.
Hell yeah, brother.
There it is.
And then we have on drums Matthew Benjamin Clark, who, fun fact, signed my copy of 2 a long time ago.
Nice.
We're talking about the record 3, though. Right here, this guy. It was released June 3rd of 2009, which was, at the time of recording, 15 years ago. It is the 3rd LP from Maylene. It was on Ferret Records. It was produced and mixed by Jason Elgin, a long-trusted producer, kind of partner in crime at this point.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then charts and performance, this was on Billboard 200 at number 71, which I found was the highest Billboard charting for Maylene.
That's what's up.
Congrats on that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
brother.
Runtime is 11 songs at 38 minutes and 55 seconds. And then we always we can talk about the artwork at the end of the research, whatever, but the artwork was done by Sons of Nero, and it looks great.
Does look great.
Very cool, very in line with what y'all had been doing.
Yeah, it was a good progression, I think, from probably the second record.
Yeah, it's very Bridges of Madison County. Thank you, Josh, for the research.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Loved it.
Yes, good. Hope you love it as much next week.
I will see. Well, I don't want to hear another word from you. I want to talk to Roman. What's up with this record? Guys, something has happened to me. I'm sorry. I don't know how to do this show anymore.
Man,
I started out so confident.
You really know how to get to the nitty-gritty questions.
Yes, I want to dive
You're
in.
just so shy to be talking to Roman again.
Oh, I know.
You're just so excited.
I'm too excited.
They say third time's the charm, but when half the band members that were part of the first 2 records quit, it's not
Right,
the case.
yeah.
So it makes total sense.
Is
that
it like
you'd be
1.5
messed up.
times?
Right. So actually, I do want to
How's
talk
that
about
math?
that, Roman. I want to talk about before we go in track by track. I think I also often ask, what was your mindset going into the studio for this record, and then especially with the major lineup changes and stuff.
Yeah, so I'm trying to think of the exact time frame that that basically all of Maylene quit except for me and Dallas. It was I want to say that record came out in 2009, right? We recorded it, I want to say late 2008, like literally December-ish of 2008. We started pre-production there, and then recorded it in the early part of the year, and it was ready to go and mixed by the summer. So yeah, that means that the original four guys would have quit the year before, around the same time, maybe a little earlier.
Were the new guys, did they like start out as like fill in on tour, or how did they get
Join the
into the
fold.
band? Yeah.
Rotate in, yeah.
Yeah, so Dallas and I were basically left up to doing everything at that point. So I don't think he and I even communicated to each other, because I had called like 5 dudes or 6 dudes that I knew personally that were, some of them were techs in other bands, and then some of them were played in other bands, I even considered moving over to guitar or playing drums,
wow.
because I play both. Instead, I don't remember when I talked to him, but I sort of showed up one day, and he had all of those dudes, like, like all of them.
Dallas just like brought all of these guys.
Yeah, well, so the way that probably worked out, so we were good friends with Kelly Nunn, or Scott Nunn, and he had played in Further Seems Forever. He was in Under Oath at one point. He was in Sleeping by the Riverside at another point, and he was in a local band down in Tampa that were pretty good. And they played some shows with Maylene over the years, and so we had talked about him anyway. I think, hopping on guitar if he was interested in doing it. So I don't remember when they connected, but I think that Nunn probably said, well, Matt Clark, because Matt Clark was in Sleeping by the Riverside.
Okay.
And I think he was in Under Oath for
He
at
may
least
have
a little while. Yeah.
He may have done something there. Yeah. I don't remember exactly what. It wasn't, I don't think it was drums, because Aaron was always the drummer, except for the one record where Daniel Davidson took over for a record. So I want to say maybe Matt was going to play bass or something like that. It definitely, yeah, there was something there. But he and Nunn were never technically official members of Under Oath, I don't think either. I think they were just touring guys for a while. And I know both of them over the years, like, they sort of stayed in the music scene in Tampa whenever the resurgence of, I shouldn't say the resurgence, but really the rise of like that style of music, especially the Christian world, sort of took off. And so they were just kind of there. And then we needed a guy that could shred. And I think Matt played in a band with Chad Huff. I want to say that's accurate. And Chad could shred, and he could do all the solos, So, we actually had a guy that could actually play the solo all the way through. Like, he could sit down and figure it out. That was funny. Yeah. I mean, he didn't play it the same way. He was definitely more of a metal guitar player, but I think still super talented. And he had all this, he was like a gear collector down in Tampa. He had a ton of gear. Literally his whole bedroom was just lined with amps and guitars. And so,
Nice.
Yeah, it was rad. And he had a full touring rig ready to go at any point.
Nice.
And this is like a weird side note, but for a little bit, he played in that band Gods with the old drummer of Zayo. I don't remember what that guy's name is. I want to say it's Jesse something, but yeah. So those guys were just kind of there. And I think that's why, Dallas was looking at the situation, less from like, we're going to audition people, and more just like, hey, I've got dudes that can come play, and so we just went with it,
Great.
Yeah. And I mean, that's how those guys ended up in the band and on the road with us.
Okay.
And that's including Jake as well?
So Jake is the anomaly. He was like a unicorn in a weird way. He showed up at a show that we played in Mobile, Alabama. And like when I went out and talked to him, because he was hanging out by our van. And like, I remember going out and talking to Jake. And after a couple of hours, I was like, yeah, this dude's kind of weird. I don't know how I feel about it. Like, and that's like, it was because of how country he was. And that's saying something even for me. Like, if you met my family, you would be like, really? You were freaked out by that guy? But I think it's just where my head space was at the moment or whatever. And we went and did a tour somewhere, and then we came back, and he was he was he was wherever we were. I want to say it was either Birmingham or Tampa for a rehearsal. And like, he started playing with us, and immediately like, Jake was so meant for Maylene at that specific moment. I kid you not. Like, he literally, like, even among the original members of the band, he should have been in the band. Like,
Wow.
that, like, yeah, he would have been a good replacement for one of the original members anyway. Like, even if none of them had left, right? And he was writing the type of music that made the third record, like, already on his own. So when we got him, like, the live show with the new guys turned up a notch because he had really good stage presence. He could play really well. He was as country as it gets. He's from Macomb, Mississippi, which is the middle of Mississippi, south of the Delta, right?
Yeah.
So, like, and he was just an all around, good dude, like, young kid, just trying to get started, I think.
Nice.
And was that also Dallas kind of tapping him and being like, he should also join the fold here?
No, that
Or
was one of
were
those
you kind of
things where I
proponent
think,
of it?
yeah, I think that none who had been in the band for at least a couple of months at that point was like, we need a third guitar player. And
Gotcha.
and he had connected with him. And then I want to say that he heard him play somehow. Maybe he sent him some audio tracks,
Yeah.
and that was like what did it,
Yeah. It's like,
I love
oh,
that.
he's
Yeah.
meant for this.
He's a son
cool.
of disaster. Always
Yeah.
has been. Sweet. I love that. I do. I just sort of imagine the way, like, my headcanon of this is just like everyone just kind of like showed up when they needed to. You guys are all kind of vagabonds, just like running, finding each other and making cool music.
Like,
Yeah,
all
it
right,
was a
let's make a
weird
record.
Yeah. Well, it's a weird thing because, like, the second record, at least at the time, it felt like we had a ton of momentum, coming out of that. The tour that all the original guys quit on was literally the biggest tour we'd been on at that point, which
Oh,
was
man.
just so great.
Yeah.
And like,
Ouch.
yeah, and also we were writing before the original dudes quit. Like, we were writing music. I think I said this on a podcast before with you guys, and I remember telling you that we were writing music for the third record that I still remember. It was like that good.
Yeah.
And I can still hear some of those riffs inside of my head now.
Wow.
So, like, I didn't expect those dudes to quit at all. And
Right.
Right.
and yeah, there are tensions on the road, and everybody was in their early to mid 20s. So it's like that's just
Sure.
how things go in a certain
Mhm.
sense.
Yep.
But the dynamic shift was like a bunch of dudes in their early to mid 20s, and then they quit. And then we had about, I don't know, 4 or 5 months. And then, of course, like, all the dudes that we got in the band, except for Chad, were like in their 30s and older, and had a
grown-ups.
ton
Yeah.
of experience. Yeah. So the dynamic shift was interesting, but it was better because of maybe that maturity
Totally.
level,
Yeah, that makes
Yeah.
sense.
way less drama on the road and
Less
way better
volatile
hangs by a mile.
dynamics. Yeah, totally.
That's
That makes
great.
sense.
Okay, Josh and TJ, I want to talk about y'all's relationship with this album real quick as we finish up this part A. Josh, what's your deal?
What's my deal? Okay. Well, I picked this up the day it came out. I remember it fondly after a long day of community college summer school. Because at this point, I had been listening to 1 and 2 but I got into them, I guess, maybe the year before this came out. So I wasn't like, I didn't listen to 2 when it came out. It was like the year afterwards. But this was like the first Maylene record that I got to get on the day of. And I think I said it before, but I think I was like I was a fan of Maylene, but this record is what I guess made the rest of your discography click. And it's what quickly catapulted Maylene into being one of my favorite bands. Something about this record, just I was like, oh yeah, I get it all now, and Maylene's my favorite. So I have a story that I'm going to tell a little bit later in one of the songs. But
okay.
I did pick up this little puppy on June 23rd of 2009.
Nice.
So
that was right before we met, right?
Yeah, that was a couple 2 months before we met. Yeah.
What a time.
What a time.
What a time.
TJ, what about you, man?
Man, I didn't really know this record very well at all. I'll be honest. I just didn't have as much exposure to this era of Maylene. So
until your band played with Del Sur and you heard all the riffs from this record live.
But that's the thing is
accidentally ripped them off.
Yeah, I mean Maylene's always been like a Kylan band in my brain, and so yeah, I guess I should say I probably got incepted in a way to where I was just absorbing a lot of the ideas
the vibes
on this album without realizing it.
Yeah.
But
I love that.
Yeah, so it was fun to dig into this one and become a little more familiar with it.
Sweet. And for me, I think I've talked about this on the other ones too. I got into Maylene kind of after we started Del Sur. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, no, now I get it. And I just kind of blasted through. So 2 and 3 are kind of mixed together in my brain. Because I heard 1 way back in the day. And then 2 and 3 kind of melded together at some point in 2009. Yeah, I'm excited to dig into the track by track. You guys down with that?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to get the party started with Maylene and the Sons of Disaster 3.
Commercial time.
Hell yeah, brother.
There's a record I've been listening to that I would like to talk to you about, Kylan.
Oh yeah? What is it? I'm genuinely curious.
I know, I haven't briefed you on this at all.
Not at all. I love this.
In the moment. I did text you and TJ about it. Not much about it, though, but I did ask if you guys listened to Deep Sea Diver.
I am fully unaware of Deep Sea Diver.
Okay. All right. Well, they just had a new record come out called Billboard Heart. And I dare say it's pretty good. I've been enjoying it. And what more, you can buy the CD or the beautiful pink vinyl.
I'm looking. The vinyl is so pretty.
I know. I think
love a pink vinyl.
I know. It matches the artwork too, which I think was done by Jordan Butcher.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Love it whenever the vinyl matches the album cover and the vibe of it. But 100%. You can pick that up at our sponsor on colliderecords.com.
Whoa, what?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. How do you do that?
Well, you use your fingers to go to colliderecords.com. You're checking out, and then before you hit purchase, put in our little promo code.
Wait, we have a promo code?
Oh, do we, Kylan? It's Church Jams Now, all one word, and you will receive, if you do it correctly, you will receive 20% off your first order.
Wow. Is it all uppercase or all lowercase?
You know, I think either works.
That is rad.
I don't know.
Sorry, I had to derail it just a little bit. This ad felt a little too tight.
Yeah, it's a little too scripted. I don't know. I think either works. But if one doesn't work, try it the other way.
Try the other way.
And then let us know. It's been a while since I've used it, so I don't know.
That's true.
But you know what? It does work. I can confirm. I have used it for purchases before.
So you do that, you get 20% off your first purchase.
Yeah, your first purchase.
So you could ostensibly get the CD and the vinyl, because depending on how big of a physical media person you are, bundle those together and get 20% off the whole thing.
Her last record too is on there in Seafoam Green.
I saw that.
You gotta get that. So
if you're getting the pink vinyl, you gotta get the other record with the Seafoam Green vinyl.
No, pink and Seafoam Green. Come on, that's like a perfect combo right there.
It really is.
Every record collection needs it.
So if you've never heard of Deep Sea Diver, this is the perfect opportunity.
Yep.
To get
Don't
into
listen
them.
to it until it's on your turntable from colliderecords.com.
I might actually do that. That
Could be
sounds
fun.
like something I would do because I don't know them at all, but that I love that concept.
Yeah.
So if you go to colliderecords.com and fill up your cart and at checkout use promo code ChurchJamesNow, you get 20% off your entire first purchase. So let's deep sea dive back into the show. We got a new review on iTunes for Church Jams Now.
Man, this is just like when Steve would get a letter. You get so excited, you know?
I
It's
do.
like,
We just got a review.
That's it. Perfect.
We love reviews. We love when you rate and review the show. It gives us feedback. And, we've talked about it before. It helps the algorithm. I don't understand what any of this means, but it does help more people find our show if more people rate and review the show. So if you want your review read on the show, go ahead and just use your fingers and give us a star rating and type out a little clickety-clack, type out a little review, and we'll read it. So I'm going to read us a review right now.
Ooh, I'm ready to hear it.
I'm really excited about this because we've had a few reviews that really get in depth, right, with what they love about the show, what they like really appreciate about it. And they get really granular, kind of the way that we do with the albums. And I think that's incredible. This review is my kind of review, though. It's a straight up vibe guy review.
It absolutely is.
This is from J.S. Wilmering. 5 stars.
Great
Title
start.
is Great Show, Guys. Love the podcast. It's my go-to delivering beer and alcohol. ...
The end.
Hell yeah. Thank you. That's all.
Well-
That's it.
And if we talk about on the show a lot about specificity in songs.
Yes.
And I feel like this is just the right amount of specificity for me to kickstart my imagination
Yes.
for JS listening to our show delivering beer and alcohol. And that's all the information I know, but it's really all the information I need
Right.
to just start imagining. And it's perfect.
100%. So thank you so much for that review. It might be my favorite. I might print it out and frame it.
That'd be solid. That'd be really good.
Yeah.
So if you want to have your review read on the show, whether it's long and in depth or whether it's a short vibe guy review like that, there's room for all of that here on Church Jams Now. So just leave us a review and a rating on. You can't leave us a rating or a review on Spotify. I don't believe so. But you can do it on Apple Podcasts. But you can give us stars on Spotify. So wherever you're at, give us a rating and a review, and we'll read it on the show.
Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed those ads as much as we enjoyed making them. And I hope I didn't completely lose my mind recording said ads because that's sort of been a trend as of late. Sorry, Greg. So, do we have any general thoughts before we go track by track into this record? No. All right.
Good luck.
All right.
I don't think so.
All right.
Good luck.
Thanks, Roman.
Waiting on my deathbed for someone to contribute something else. So let's move on to track 1, Waiting on My Deathbed. Is this the perfect intro to a Southern metal record?
Yes.
For sure.
Unequivocally.
Those are totally real crickets.
I love how long this is. And it just makes me want to be outside.
Yeah.
This
same.
is like I want to be really sweaty and just
Sitting on a
summer
back porch.
night.
Yeah.
Just,
Sipping some
With a
sweet tea somewhere.
shiner in my hand, just like
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, no, it really places you. Like it's
Yeah.
it's a cinematic opening for sure.
Yeah, Roman, I want to know about how that came about where you're like, let's do, because you guys haven't done this before on the previous 2 records. Like where it is like, hey, let's make not even just an intro, but a long atmospheric intro that everything like comes in and it builds and whatnot.
Yeah. That is, it's as simple as looking at your catalog and going, how do we do something a little different than we did the last time? Because
What haven't you done?
without, yeah. And I think the trick maybe is making it subtle. right? Because the minute it kicks in, like it just did there, it's back to like the normal Maylene thing,
Mm-hmm.
But
Right.
it was good to have something a little more. I don't want to say epic because I don't know if epic is the right term, but
It feels like it's as cinematic. I feel like also is appropriate. Like it just like sets the table really well.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Especially
I
that
think
banjo.
Who's playing banjo
So
on that, by
tasty.
the way?
I'm trying to remember, but I want to say that was our buddy Jacob Bunton who helped us on a bunch of records. He
Sweet.
kind of played He kind of played. Well, he still plays just about every instrument now. I'm pretty sure he played the banjo on that.
Nice.
Um,
I've
yeah,
been trying to learn that banjo line like all week, and I'm getting okay at it. So if you're lucky enough to join our Patreon for $3 a month or more, maybe you'll see a video of me playing a shitty cover of this banjo intro. Is that a good Patreon commercial, guys?
Perfect plug. You nailed
Lovely.
it. Great.
I always thought that if you did the banjo part just on its own and kept going, it could turn into a bluegrass song. So
Oh,
y'all should
100%.
figure that out and
Completely.
plagiarize it as much as you want. I didn't write it, so
Yes.
It's
Sweet.
so good.
Well, and then I love how it just like switches to guitar too, and it's like
yes.
seamless. And you're like, oh, sweet.
Yeah.
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 It's such a good
Super
quick
smooth.
move. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you've learned to play it on guitar, you could probably play it on banjo.
Yeah.
I want to say it's just a dissonant chord of some sort, and you just learn how to pick it.
Yep.
Chicken pick it a little bit.
Yep. It's not super complicated, but it's so good. I need more banjo in not just bluegrass music. Just all music should have more banjo. I'm just throwing that out there. I do find it interesting. The song is called "Waiting on My Deathbed," and it's the first line of the song, and it's not associated with like the quote unquote hook of the song, right? Like, because I feel like this song could also be like tightrope or walking on a tightrope or something.
Mm-hmm.
Hollow Man.
Yeah, it's just a random little thing that I noticed. I think that's cool.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think
It feels like it sets the tone, right?
Yeah.
Like for the rest of the record.
A lot of the lyrical content too. Yep.
I think part of this at this point was like the in the story of the Sons. Like by the third record, we were at they're being killed or something like that.
Mhm.
And I don't think it was quite dead yet, maybe, but like maybe some of them were, which is a weird. I don't know. It's kind of a weird thing because like at the same time, you had a bunch of dudes that quit the band, so it's almost like if in the story of the Sons, they would be dead,
right?
Yeah.
It's like post-mortem almost.
This is one of my
like,
notes
in
later.
retrospect. That's
Pretty
great.
well. I haven't heard this record in a very long time, and I just remembered all of that. So who knows? I don't know how the rest of this is going to go. I'm just being honest.
That's great. I love it. Josh, TJ, what, you guys got anything else on this?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there's a little bit of a production change. Like this record feels like a little maybe glossier or touched up than, because obviously one is very raw. Two is like in that sweet spot, at least for me, of like where it's like everything is pretty, like it's produced, but it's not like super produced kind of thing. This one does
feels
feel
like it hit the mid 70s on the Billboard chart.
yeah. So
Yeah.
was there any like
That's a great way to put it.
Any were y'all wanting to like up things production wise, or just change, or just Elgin just being like, hey, let's try this kind of sound?
No, that's a good question. There's a lot at play there. I mean, like one, it's our third record with the new guys in the band. I think the idea was like, if we can get anything into the mainstream world, we might as well take a shot at that. So I think that Jason probably understood that and kind of, since he had really helped us form the sound as much as he had on the first two records, I think he understood what the natural progression should be. And then of course, just as a producer, he understands how to get like a better sound every time, so he understood like how that needed to progress. He also did like, I can't remember if we had a bigger budget for this record or not. I'm pretty sure our budget went up with each record, but we definitely had a little more space to get like really good drum sounds and guitar sounds that we had not had the space for before. And I think just the pre-planning, Jason knowing he was going to record our third record, probably helped a little bit with that. So who knows, like maybe if there'd been more budget and more time on like the second album, it would have sounded even more pristine, as well. But I think that's where it all came from, was just like, a kind of a shot to get ourselves a little more into a broader audience, and then probably just having the space to, you want to progress. Like,
Right.
There is this old kind of thought process in the music industry, and we heard it a lot going into recording this record, that like your third record is the one for bands, like for at least in the natural progression. I don't think this is true anymore with streaming, but prior to streaming, the third record was typically the record that got you over the hump, whatever that
Broke
hump
you out.
is.
Yeah.
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 And it's funny that I say that, because like I can like Jimmy Eat World broke out with their second album, right? Well, you know what? Was
Technically,
that technically their third?
Bleed American, you would probably say is their third. So.
Okay, so I guess it's kind of true.
Still applicable.
Yeah, if you think of it that way, as Bleed American being the third, yeah, I guess.
Right. But like, I'm trying to think what record Under Oath was on. I want to say that the big record, Spencer's first record, was like their fourth.
Their fourth,
yeah.
But it's all like right around there. Taking Back Sunday, I feel like their third was their big.
Yeah.
And that makes sense.
Were y'all getting any like label, like pressure, or like were they like kind of like talking to y'all about that? Since y'all did get some songs, was that like, were y'all getting songs placed in like video games and stuff into, or was that like, or like around the time the two got released, or was that like later?
No, I want to say that was like later on. The third record, and I mean, we can talk about it a little more as we go further along, but this record was really hyped to us from all the industry guys. So a lot of our industry guys really liked it. So they hyped it to us a lot, but frankly, the results were the same as the second album cycle for us. If not worse at times, frankly. I think a part of that was like, 2006 and 7 were a different time than 2008 and 9. They just were. Sure. One, the economy hadn't bottomed out like it did in 2008. A bunch of label people got let go or fired, or labels folded. There was a lot of stuff going on like that. I think everyone was just trying to stay afloat. And then, like we had just enough momentum to still get people interested in our third album. And so when our booking agents heard it, and our manager and like the PR guy that had worked with us forever heard it, and the label, they were pretty stoked on it, but they never really, like they said a lot, and a lot happened on the like email front, where they email you stuff that's going on or might happen, but none of it ever really came to pass. Because even, this is more true now than it's ever been, but especially for us, at least, the tours that we got and like our guarantee, things like that, like that didn't change while I was still in the band. There were some like headlining slots at Christian festivals that didn't happen while I was in Maylene that they got, I want to say around 2010 or 11, but that, I think that was just seniority. Right. You know what I mean?
That makes sense.
I don't think it was because they were specifically, Maylene was a bigger band or anything like that at that time. I don't think that's why.
Well, I feel like, Roman, if you ever want to settle any of those scores, I recommend maybe Burning Bridges. And let's move on to track number 2, Settling Scores by Burning Bridges.
This is my favorite song.
Oh, wow.
Oh, I was not expecting that, TJ.
All. What's up with that?
Whoa.
Yeah, I think it's because there's just so many weird parts to this song. And my chaos gremlin, my like anarchist kind of like, let's break all the rules of songwriting.
It's a little showbready.
How cool songwriting is.
It is a little showbready.
It is very, that's very true. That's a good call out. It's very showbready, and I'm the showbread guy. So, Yeah, the punk beat in the chorus.
Yeah.
It's so
Don't
cool.
we cut the song in half like at some point there? We go to halftime
Yeah.
towards
Dude.
the end of the song.
Okay.
Your boy
Yeah,
makes
like-
a vocal
like
cameo
Matthew.
coming up here in a minute.
Oh yeah.
Oh, do you?
Okay.
I think.
It's like shoegazy almost. It's like sludge, shoegaze, math,
Very sludgy.
southern metal. That full band tempo shift from 150 to 210 is so cool. And then right after that, there's this weird meter thing that you guys do where it's like a bar of 4 into a bar of almost 4. It's you don't do the final eighth note on the fourth beat. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. It's crazy. There's just so much chaos in this song, and I think that's what I resonated with, and I loved it. Like, it's rad. So what's the vocal spot, Roman? I gotta know.
Yeah. Do you know?
What do you?
I think it's a
is it like a
singing
BGV?
part somewhere in there. It might have been before the.
Is it when the twilight comes part?
Oh, there it is.
Oh, nice.
That's great, man.
That's so good.
I didn't even know where it was, which tells you how much it meant to me.
And I love that melodic line. That
Like the
so
tambourine
spooky.
comes in real fast right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is a fun song, dude. You're right. I
It is.
totally forgot how much
I didn't
fun
know
this
if y'all,
song.
because I know on the first record y'all had a lot of like people in other bands come in and do like most of those clean vocal parts, but on this record it's like y'all handling all of it.
Yeah, we did get the lead
Yeah.
parts on most of this album, and I think that Rodney Reeves and some others maybe just did background vocals on a lot of it. So, yeah, a lot of progression to that, which kind of makes you wonder if like the original dudes had stayed just to do this record, what it would have sounded like. But you never, shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Sliding
Right.
doors.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Jake's credited with a lot of the background vocals, but I'm curious, Roman, like, please shout out any that you are a part of as well.
No, yeah, of course.
Yeah, for sure. This one to me feels the most Maylene 1, because on Maylene 1 you get a lot of the linear song structure and it's pretty chaotic and changing frequently. So I definitely felt like this was like hearkening back to that kind of sound in those songs that y'all were doing.
But higher production value.
Yeah. So also, I can't remember if this is 100% true or not, but I want to say that someone told me in the making of it when I heard Dallas's vocal for the first time that was like his Under Oath scream when he was still in Under Oath there at the beginning. So it was more of a metal scream that he went for, and I don't think we'd quite done it that way on the first two records. I think there was more of like a Southern drawl kind of scream on the first two records. So
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Right.
But, I've always talked about how Maylene was ultimately really just a classic rock band with some Southern tendencies.
100%.
It's far more evident on this record than any other.
100%.
It really shows here. Yeah. In a cool way.
Yeah. Ow. Oh, sorry, guys. Maybe some static or something. It's okay. It was just a shock. Let's move on to track number 3. Just a shock.
You had me.
Got him.
You had me because I haven't listened to this record and I totally forgot.
Roman didn't do his homework.
Yeah. There's Van Halen.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
Yeah. I love this
So
like
classic
fast,
rock.
tight Maylene. Like that, that classic
Yeah.
rock
Very
riff,
fast.
kind of like it's aggressive, but it's still got some swagger.
Right. Yeah, the aggression
great.
part is all that matters whenever you're making heavy music. It doesn't
Mhm.
matter how you fit that into the sound that you
Right.
create ultimately.
Right.
Totally.
This is more fun to listen to than I remember it being. So I'm glad we're
Controversial
going.
take. It's a good record.
Yeah.
That was pretty good of us.
Crazy.
We have more tightrope imagery in the
Oh,
lyrics.
yep.
Yep.
Who's singing the vocals on the chorus here?
That is Rodney Reeves right there.
Okay.
With
okay.
I think I'm doing some background maybe.
Okay, gotcha.
Cool.
Oh, a little harmonized guitar.
It gets a
I
little. It feels
know.
almost
Mhm.
like proggy heavy metal.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
This song has, I mean, it's pretty like pop structure, but it's
I
so
said
good.
that too, Josh.
Yeah.
I meant it as a high compliment. Like,
Yes,
it's very
no.
cool to see Maylene doing a pop structure and pulling it off in a big way.
Well, then I love in the first chorus, there's kind of like that pre-chorus part, which as I'm going on the show, I'm discovering how much I love an effective pre-chorus, and this is no exception.
Yes.
But then going into the second chorus, it just skips it, and Dallas has that long held out scream, which I was like, I kind of missed the pre-chorus, but I like that y'all are like changing up the structure and be like, okay, we can use on the first one, but then we'll like keep you guessing as we just jump into the chorus on the second time around.
Yeah, I think a big part of that too was like, when we were writing this record, we had some help from Jacob Bunton, who wrote a lot of parts and helped us a ton with song structures and things like that in pre-production. And he's more of like a classic rock kind of guy anyway, he's played with a bunch of artists like that. And so you needed that because we had new guys and they didn't have enough time to acclimate all of them to writing Maylene stuff specifically.
That makes sense. I like the idea of a guy coming in and being like, you don't have to just write riffs. Have you guys heard of a pre-chorus? You can repeat things, guys.
Have you heard of a bridge?
Yeah. So that's
awesome.
Yeah, total credit goes to him for like, structuring out some of these songs. It's such a weird record writing because we had that, but then we had like I have a whole song on here. I just recorded it with a buddy of mine in Alabama, and we sent it over to Jason, and he was like, yeah, we can use that. And then Jake,
wow,
Jake did the same thing with two of the songs on this record as well.
Oh wow.
Where he was like, hey, I've got an idea. And then, he just wrote two whole songs. That didn't happen before. Like early Maylene was 100% was like the six dudes in the room writing, you know?
Yeah.
So since we had to adjust, you had a little bit of a difference in the way that a lot of these songs ended up on the record.
Which makes for a really varied listening experience. And that's kind of cool,
Yeah.
Hell yeah, brother.
I told you I'd use it sparingly, but it's back, y'all.
No, that was the perfect time when you needed to.
That's awesome.
Time is a flat circle, Kylan, so it had to come back.
That's right.
true.
That's right.
I do want to talk about before we board this next train. Just the whole part at 224. I love where the guitar riff is coming in, and then Roman has those bass slides, which are really sick.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Just how things drop out. It's so good. But there's
so good.
there's like a measure of 2/4. I think it's 2/4. It's like it's a weird, just short measure in there that I'm like, oh, what happened
for the drums? It's almost
but
it's
it
almost
feels
like the
so
string
natural.
instruments.
It's only weird when you're counting.
Don't even pause to like consider it as a
that's the weird thing.
A meter change.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
It is cool.
And that's hard to figure out when you're writing on your own. So that's one of those. It's like a collaborative thing somewhere. I don't know who, but yeah, that stuff is fun to figure out if you can make it happen on an album because like I write my own stuff at home now. I try to find a way to put something like that in there, but like if it doesn't just happen naturally, then you kind of have to wait for somebody else to be like, hey, you should try this here.
Right.
I've got a crazy idea.
And Matt just might hear it different and be like, oh, I can cut off a measure or like 2 beats here and no one will even notice. But
no, we just talked about that with Cody and Matt from the wedding because they have that one song that goes, it's like a swing beat and then it goes into like a real heavy like swing breakdown that it goes from like 4/4 to 6/8, right? But it's the same riff. But when they were just playing it together, they just heard it differently.
They each
and
heard
so
it
then it just like
different ways.
it just like totally changed.
I know the place where a lot of that happens. Well, I can't speak for every producer or songwriter, but one thing is, if you notice at the end of that, like the transition there makes sense because it's like if you're thinking of that part, you would do that little 3-hit jump back into the chorus, right? but you would do it on like after like the fourth measure, right, or the eighth.
Right. And he just jumped ahead.
Right. So I think it's just about the transition. Like, where do you want the transition to happen and being aware of those? And that's the same in playing as well. It's something I learned from Jason is like, you have to, like, playing the parts is nice, but how well do you flow into the transition and back to the next part? That's almost more important than how you're playing, like,
because it's got to set it up.
Right.
And it's got to feel like a flow. That's what a song is.
Yeah, it's got to. Yeah.
That's cool.
All right, guys. Well, let's move on to the next song because The Last Train Coming is the next song. Track 4, Last Train Coming. That started out. This is the vibe of this episode. I start out so confidently, and then
I love
here we
that.
go. Track 4.
Were the first two records that easy to use like the names as a joke? Because I don't recall it. Like,
I don't
think
know
this
if we were
record is
doing
specific for that.
This one is definitely pretty easy for it. I don't know if we did it as much on the last two.
Yeah.
I think that's something that's maybe
I'm not
developed a little more over time.
Yeah.
That's true.
This just feels like just classic Maylene right here. Like, I like you guys like you, it's still aggressive. It's like the tempo slowed down just a little bit.
Yeah, it's sloggy, kind of, you know. Dun.
Not in a rush to get anywhere.
Right.
Even though the last train's coming.
It is. It is. This song, like a good Western, it just has a lot of good one-liners in it.
Yeah.
Sold on surviving,
So true.
but what's the cost? You had your one shot, you took them all. And then just honestly, the whole second this whole second verse, I really love. It's a resurrection, siphon your blood straight from the ground. Vaccinated with the lead of 1,000 rounds.
Ooh,
is a good
prophecy.
line.
So good.
That's a good line.
Man.
Fauci approved.
I was about to say COVID prophecy.
And then hell hath no fury. Will it?
We were ahead of our
now.
time.
Now.
Yep.
I do like hell hath no fury. Well, it does now.
Yeah, and then he ended up with "Once I was lost, but now I'm found." So it's like couched in like these lines of like biblical imagery of like resurrection and lost, but now, but then, which also makes it feel like very Southern. Like, so it's just this one just has some really good lines that I really enjoy.
I almost forgot about that song.
I think you actually forgot about it until we brought it up.
true.
That seems to be
We're here to do the
what's
good work.
happening.
To remind the musicians that played on this record about the songs.
About
that they
their
played.
songs that you also played on this song. Not only does it exist, you also played on it and helped create it. I did want to kind of ask earlier, but do you remember like what was like the first songs that like came about with like the new lineup of like, oh, these were the first kind of songs that we figured out together as a band with the new guys?
It's hard to pinpoint what those are specifically, but I will say the Runaway single for this record, probably our biggest song still, maybe I want to say. I haven't checked in a long time, which was Step Up. That's the first song I remember like hearing the riff for, and it was like, okay, we're doing, like, that's for sure going to be on the record.
Wow, that's cool.
And then Jake wrote the song after that, but I don't remember the name of it. It's the prettiest one though, with all the singing on it. So those were the first two that I remember. And then, you know, everybody had parts of something, and then, you know, a lot of the other stuff got ironed out in pre-production, except for like the song I had, and I want to say one other, maybe that we wrote on the road somewhere or in a rehearsal. And then everything else was just like, we had parts, or we had songs probably. And then when we got to pre-production, everything got really heavily scrutinized, and which was necessary. I don't mean that in like a bad sense, but, you know, cause we did the same process for this record that we did for the last one, where we were all in a circle in the basement of, Jason's studio for 2 weeks, you know,
Nice.
12 hours a day working
this
on it.
time,
out.
you had the guy that taught you about pre-choruses.
Yes, this time. Yeah. A lot of pre-choruses
Came
on
in
this
clutch,
record. Made it, yeah.
They're
Sweet.
effective.
Yeah. Kylan, I've got a request.
Okay.
Can Roman introduce the next song? Because only Roman, among the four of us, can say it and it be factually true. Excellent.
What is?
Thank you.
It's Step
Is
Up.
it a? It is
It's the one you were just
yeah.
talking about.
Oh, how about that?
All right,
It's-
yeah. Can
And
you lead
there's
us
a
in, Rome?
parenthetical addition to the title.
Well, let's step it up here, boys. Let's go.
Track 5, Step Up. I'm on it.
He's on it.
I know it's the basic bitch move. This is my favorite song on the record. I ain't afraid to say it.
It rules.
I mean, it's the most streamed song. You are right, Roman. It's the biggest song in Maylene's discography, and for good reason. Like, it's pretty much a perfect song. I mean, come on. Like,
Yeah, it's a banger.
yeah.
It's fun. It's so easy to play. You just for this tuning,
Mm-hmm.
all you do is you drop your A down to G, and if you're in Maylene, you're already in drop D. So you drop the A
Right.
down to G, and then you can hit that slide part and all of the riffs
Oh,
there.
sweet.
Yeah.
Nice.
So this was like one of the first ones you said. I was curious if like whenever you heard the riff and you heard all of it coming together, like did y'all know like, oh yeah, we got something here with this one, like commercially too?
I don't know if I knew commercially. You know, like we have Tough as John Jacobs, which kind of has the slide opening part on the first album, and we were like, well, this is a better version of that. And I think that's all that we knew. I don't think any of us knew it would be like our probably most well-known song. You know, you asked about like placement. Like I do remember this is the song that made like Sons of Anarchy, and I want to say the WWE did a pay-per-view with this as like the theme song and stuff like that. So that's the first time any of that had happened.
Give me a hell yeah.
Kylan's having way too much shock
I got
jock
the
fun
Stone
over
Cold
here.
Steve Austin. Yeah, I mean that was perfect.
Yeah, that was the right time.
Amazing.
Yeah, dude, the production on this too, because I think this is the first song I heard from this record, and this was kind of going back to like what we were talking about. Like, it still has the vibe of Maylene 2, but it just feels slicker, and maybe it's like like I think the way the kick drum hits, the banjo in the verses and stuff. I think there's a really cool little production moment leading into the chorus that I love. I don't know if it's a forward vocal that's just faded in, or if the vocal is like reversed. That it's like you hear that like leading into the chorus. Okay, I don't think it's reversed. Now that I'm listening to it again, but that fade in, just like it feels like Jason maybe like picked up a couple little extra like production tricks on this song.
Yeah, what I can't remember is whether or not Rodney or myself or whoever, like, if you like held back. Like, I remember when we played it live, like we held back from the mic and then we got closer.
Nice.
When we got to that part, but I don't know. I doubt that's how it was done for the record, because you have to optimize the tone for that a little differently.
Right.
But yeah, it is. It's like a weird thing I wouldn't have expected to be in there at all.
Yeah.
You know, and I forget how much fun this record is.
It's a good. Hey, hot take. It's a good record. I never thought I'd be, because I say that a lot.
To
on the
convince
show,
him of that.
Yeah.
Well, like like Maylene was never a band that took ourselves very seriously anyway.
Right.
But those first two records were far more of an attempt at something than this record was, like in terms of like proving ourselves in some way or something like that.
Right.
It was like, what do we need to do at this point? Do we need more breakdowns? Do we need to be like, do we need to be more metal or anything like that? It wasn't any of that. It was just like,
the answer was
write a good record.
You needed more banjo.
We did, for sure.
Going back to my theory, and that's what happened.
Bringing that banjo.
Yeah, we were bro country before it was cool.
That's right.
Yeah, dude. This track specifically feels like some sort of like alternate dimension Guns N' Roses, but if they were heavy, like I could totally hear Axl Rose singing that chorus. You know what I mean?
So like, it's funny you say that. So Jacob Bunton, I think he still is the singer of Adler, which is the original drummer from Guns N' Roses band.
Oh, nice.
Like,
Oh, no way.
yeah, so
cool.
that's hilarious that you
Amazing.
point that out because he helped us with this record and is probably on that song somewhere, and for sure, like that makes so much ton of sense.
Dude, 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon.
Dang.
That's right.
Yeah. Last year we talked about what's the most iconic Maylene riff, and I think we all arrived that this was the answer for it, which
I think so.
which makes sense. Yeah,
It's not Last
right.
Train Coming, dude. That freaking.
It's a good riff too. You know?
It's hard to pick, man.
It is.
All right, guys. Hey, guys.
What?
Guys,
Yeah.
I gotta tell you.
Yeah.
Kylan?
Yeah. Hey, can y'all listen close to this incredible segue that I'm about to make?
Okay.
Next track, listen close.
Next track coming. Listen close.
Next track. Track next track.
Glad you listened close.
10 out of 10. No notes.
All of that, by the way, this whole song is Jake Duncan. Like,
Okay.
like I think that opening guitar part literally was meant to be like the scratch guitar part for the drummer to play to,
wow.
and
No way.
And then you're like, that's the main riff. Yeah.
yeah.
That's crazy.
Yep. May I go?
Yes, please.
This is my favorite song.
Oh, dude.
In the very
it's-
basic move. I'd
It-
say
but-
this is even more basic than Step Up.
This was almost my favorite. This is so close to my favorite, but it's because I just love country music so much.
Yes. I have a story, if I may tell my story.
Please tell your story.
As I
Story
mentioned
time.
earlier, I picked up the CD on the day of release. And I remember, so I picked it up, and I may have thrown it in my car whenever I was driving back, and I had to like stop off somewhere else and then
You know,
drive
I love
home.
a Josh driving story.
Yeah. So I don't know if I was listening to it and then just didn't get to this song, but then I got home and I went to my room and I put this in the CD player, and I think I probably started at the beginning again. And I pulled out like my CD booklet like I used to do, just like reading along to the lyrics, listening to the music. And when this song came on, like it was just like a very cool moment in like enjoying music and just having like enjoying music with like no distractions, just like because a lot of times you're doing other stuff, like you're doing chores or you're driving somewhere or you're whatever is going on, like now these days like you're on your phone or something like that. But like I was just sitting in my room, just had the booklet and the music going, and like it was just such a cool moment to, because I was like, they're doing this, like oh, they're going for it, and like and they're nailing it. And then like, cause then I didn't know like if y'all were gonna like make it real heavy at some point or bring it back, but then it's like you kept it as the kind of a ballady the whole time through. And I was just like the whole time I was like, oh, they're doing it, and it's so cool. And
Full
I was
commitment.
loving every like second that it like I heard it. I was like, oh, because I did not see it coming, and it was just so great. So it was like such a memorable time of listening, hearing this song for the first time, and then it's a perfect song all the way through. You get like the talk box solo in there, which is awesome.
Yes.
And
First
then,
but not the last.
First but not the last, exactly. And then, so a lot of Maylene lyrics obviously are very like in this kind of Maylene, Ma Barker fable kind of whatever.
Concept-y.
But this in concept, but this one, I mean, sounds straight like this is like the most personal Dallas maybe has ever gotten on a Maylene song. Super heartfelt. And I mean, so automatically like the lyrics, you're like, yeah, I mean, obviously I believe what he's singing because you can tell it's coming from a very honest and vulnerable place. So I mean, it's just it's pretty perfect. So it's basic, but I'm not ashamed of it.
That's beautiful, man. Oh,
It's a good listen. Josh will hit you right in the feels with his driving around listening to music stories.
This was sitting at the
You know
home
what's
on,
cool,
on
though?
the bed
No, I
listening
know.
to the story.
I love that
Oh,
we're
man.
like a little the deck has been kind of shuffled a little bit for like what our normal favorite songs are. Like I feel like this should be like a TJ favorite song.
No, I actually expected this to be
there.
yours, TJ.
Yeah,
It's really high. It's maybe my second favorite, to be honest, Josh. So like I love that it's your favorite. It's like we all sort of traded places. Like I feel like mine could have been a Kylan favorite song because it's so bananas
chaotic.
And like has so many parts, which is something you often really appreciate. And like I don't know, and the single, like you chose the single Kylan, that feels like sometimes I'm the basic that picks the single. Sometimes Josh goes for it, but like this time you did. Yeah. But I think that speaks to like the diversity sonically that we see in this album and how cool that is. But no, this song's so sweet and I love it. Like the heartsick kind of like component of it lyrically really landed with me too. Yeah. So I love that you shared that story, Josh. That's really cool. Also, Talkbox in a song about communication. Can we just note that?
Another
Talkbox in a song about communication.
Yeah. That's so funny. I remember we had to buy a talk box and we were like bummed about it because we only used it once.
Did y'all not like bring it out on tour?
Yeah, we did. We had
Jake. I feel like I remember like y'all playing this live and having the talk box. Okay.
Dude, those things too, like I don't know how talk boxes are now, but back in the day, like those things were
OG
like
talk box.
It was just like a plastic tube that went to the pedal. And that plastic tube, dude, after a dude had been like
gross.
Like sweating, with cigarettes, and alcohol, just the saliva. That thing was yellow by the time we got done with the first tour.
And I'm sure everyone's probably like, "Oh, I want to try it." And you're like, "Please don't. That's gross." Like,
you don't want to try it. Trust
me. It's so
me.
funny. I know. I remember too. It's funny you say that. Like, I want to say AP gave this record a really bad review, which was like kind of in their wheelhouse. And the talk box was specifically the thing they pointed out. They're like, seriously, a talk box, Maylene? Like, what are you like? Who do you think you are?
Motley Crue? No, that's what makes it cool.
With the talk box.
Oh my god, yeah, dude, they gave it a 1.5 out of 5.
Oh no way!
Whoa,
that's fucking wild.
Yeah,
but
that is
their website's
hot
shit
take.
now, so
man.
And we love the talk box. Oh yeah, you're right. It says by far the biggest perpetrator is the sappy power ballad "Listen Close," which inexplicably employs the oldest glam gimmick in the book, the talk box effect pedal. A talk box? Are you serious? Hey guys, Richie Sambora called. He wants his shtick back.
Cool.
But that's the thing. You wouldn't expect a talkbox solo on like the ballad, right?
Ballad.
That's what makes it a cool move.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to use that line
sappy?
somewhere. Yeah.
You guys,
Richie Sambora
calls. He wants his shtick back.
Wants his shtick back. That's beautiful.
Hey, alternative.
I love
sad
forever.
Pitchfork called. They want their
sad for
shitty
whoever
comebacks
wrote
back.
that. Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah, I wonder where that dude is today who wrote that review. Like what he's doing.
That's so funny.
He's the head of Roadrunner Records.
Right.
Right.
We're gonna look him up. He's gonna be on the next episode. Church James. He's gonna be on Maylene.
Make him apologize. Yeah, we'll bring back from Maylene.
Yeah, dude.
You guys should do.
We gotta settle some scores and burn some bridges, right? That's what we're here for.
Hell yeah, brother.
Hell
You
yeah,
guys should-
brother.
You should do a roast podcast where like
We should. I would love that.
somebody comes on and just roast the whole record in front of a member of the band. I would love that. I'd be here for it.
You know, maybe on Halloween or something. April Fool's Day.
April Fool's.
We'll bust that out.
That'd be awesome.
Spicy.
Yeah. Good song. Controversial take.
Yeah,
Talkbox.
sappy or not.
Sappy talkbox. Okay, you know, I'm actually with the AP person now. They've swayed me.
Yeah.
The power of online media.
Right. Well, let's head on down to the old Iron Hills. Track 7, the old Iron Hills.
So good, Kylan.
Thank you. Yeah,
You're
I'm
crushing it.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Is that place a reference that I should know that I'm really blanking on?
Birmingham is like Iron City. So Old Iron Hills is kind of like a Birmingham reference, pretty much.
Thank you
Okay.
for connecting those dots for me.
Yeah, this feels like the required Southern Pride / Alabama song, carrying the torch that Raised by the Tide did last album's. Like, you got to have your Alabama song.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, I said Birmingham is the iron city. Birmingham is the steel city, but they made a lot of iron in like the mills and stuff like that. Like Sloss Furnace is where they have Furnace Fest, was known for that and all that. Yeah.
I appreciate that apology.
Yeah, I'm from
As
there.
our resident historian.
Spent the first 24 years of my life in the city. I forgot its motto.
I want to talk about sequencing a little bit, because the sequencing of this record is perfect, right?
I think
I like.
I think side B is interesting because you get three like pretty like not poppy necessarily. I mean, I'm viewing Harvest Moon hanging, but Old Iron Hills and No Good Sun, like I feel like could be like what you would think would be like pretty easy side A's because you're like, quick hitter, upbeat kind of thing. But it's cool that they're on the back end of the record.
Agreed.
Yeah, same. I think it's a good move.
What a vibe.
There's some percussion happening in the chorus, and it sounds like it's on like the left channel. I was going to ask Roman if you know what it is, but I know it's been a while.
I can't tell. I don't know. I think that might just be the ride bell just really tight, you know?
Yeah. I could hear something else going on, but I couldn't tell what it was. It's just
swear
so
to God,
subtle.
if it's bongos, I'm flopping.
It's bongos. You gotta flop it. If it's bongos,
I swear to God,
bongos with a talk box.
Some bongos in here.
Man.
Bongos with a talk box.
1.5, man. 1.5.
Talk box. Rate it lower.
Oh my God.
So good.
Oh man.
I do love a song that ends on a question. And this one is really good. The spent my life chasing my dreams. Now that I've caught them, was it as good as I thought it'd be? And then it ends and you're like, oh, okay. Thanks, Dallas. I'll think about that now.
Yeah. Yeah, that one's interesting because I wrote a lot of the lyrics for this song. And I don't remember if that's one of the lyrics I wrote or not. But yeah, I think that was probably a reaction to everything that had happened like the 2 years prior.
Well, that's what I really appreciate about this song is because we've talked a lot to like a lot of bands usually around this time, like around the age you were when you made this record. Like I feel like every band at some point has a song that's sort of about how like touring just kind of sucks, and you just like want to be home. But I like the kind of Maylene take on it, because then it goes back to like what Josh was saying, like the Southern Pride kind of thing. So it could be like, it could work. It works on multiple levels for me. I like that it's not just like, oh man, the tour bus is stinky. Like this is like it feels like this song could be about a band that's on the tour, like that's on the road all the time, or like a Civil War soldier who's just like longing for home.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, there was a lot. Like the weird thing about, I mean, this record caught us at a time where we'd been on the road pretty heavily for like 4.5 straight or whatever years. We were definitely worn out, but there wasn't a chance to really take a break or anything because you go right into the next record cycle, and then like what didn't help was like 4 dudes quit the band, and then we had to figure that part out, and then because of that, like we didn't take any tours in the later half of whatever that year was. I want to say 2007, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we like had to catch up in 2008, and we took a bunch of tours, like long tours. We did like a 60-day run with Clutch, I think, that year, which is
wow.
The Clutch is awesome, but that's a long time to be on the road with those dudes and their crowds. So yeah, there was a lot of that made it into the writing sessions for sure.
But that means it connects, like there's definitely a lot in this album that really resonates with me in a fresh way. So that was, I think that added an extra layer of like strength almost to the record.
Fresh.
That its predecessors maybe didn't have as much of, like the personal experience baked into it. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So let's move on to the next song, which is what I imagine Josh says when his son asks him if techno music is any good, I imagine he says, "No good, son."
It is no good, son.
Or is it no good son?
No good, son.
There you go.
Josh does often refer to
You decide
one
where
of his
the
kids as
punctuation
good son.
goes.
Good son.
Say a prayer for me. God knows I can't control myself. A new storm's coming, and it won't be long.
Turpentine. That is a line that I think I'll always have in my head. Shut down, light up whiskey
That
bottles of
tracks.
turpentine.
That's very Kylan.
It really
Yep.
is.
That's on the bingo card for sure.
Yep.
Is this the song that we do some crazy stuff and change genres at the end, or is that the next song?
I think it's the next song or two.
Okay.
Yeah. This one's pretty much straightforward. Just,
Yeah. No,
Good
I
kinda-
think it's the
yep.
next one.
yeah.
I mean, this once again feels like classic Maylene. I don't have much else to say about it. It's a good
Yeah.
song.
I say this is
Yeah.
like the Maylene version of Mama Tried, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I love whenever a drummer's just hitting the bell of the ride.
Go for the bell.
Yeah.
Man, love it.
Yeah, the trick there is to stick it too. A lot of guys will hit the bell and then they'll come off,
Right.
You want it to be tight, you got to stick it
Gotta-
just for a second and like
Gotta
get
hold
back
it on.
to it.
Mm-hmm. That lead line
so
is great.
all the guitar solos are Chad, you said?
I don't know. I don't remember how many of them were. Some of them are going to be Chad and then Jacob Bunton and Jake Duncan.
Okay.
They handled most of the guitar work that I remember on the record. So
The solos do feel a little different than 1 and 2. Like a little more like classic rock or like heavy
Yeah,
metal.
like 80s metal or
than,
something. Yeah.
like just minor pentatonic, different
Specifically,
versions of it.
yeah, especially Waiting on My Deathbed and Step Up have that.
Mhm.
Which there was a time when I was like Southern metal purist that I was like, oh, I don't like that they're not just using the blues scale, and I was a little turn my nose up at it kind of thing. Which because y'all didn't do that, it was pretty straightforward pentatonic scale for like the first two records. But now I'm like, oh yeah, and then especially knowing how much of the classic rock influence Maylene has always had, it's like, oh yeah,
Right.
that makes just
Yeah,
more
yeah.
sense. It's coming out more here.
yeah, I'm trying to think of like what the type of scale is that you could relate that to, because there's the major pentatonic and the minor pentatonic, which made the other records for sure. But this record even has other types of scales built into it in a
Yeah.
weird way, like using like a seventh,
Mhm.
or a fifth and throwing that in there too.
Mhm.
So it's a totally different vibe almost even from that, which is kind of funny.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see if I can find what the scale is I'm thinking of, but I can't.
Just throwing out, people won't know. You can say Mixolydian. Yeah.
Phrygian.
I
It'll
think it
be
is.
fridge.
I think
Fridge
it is like Mixolydian with like the seventh
Yeah,
thrown
Yeah,
into
Mixolydian is like the
the
fourth scale degree. So
Yeah.
that makes, I think it's a pretty popular one, but definitely not Locrian. No one uses that.
No one fucks with Locrian.
Yeah, seventh
on,
scale
man.
degree. Yuck.
What are you, an Ionian guy? Come on, get out of here. And we've lost all of our listeners.
Yeah.
Track number 9, Harvest Moon Changing.
Let's go down into the water. Hear the choir of a showdown sing. The Mississippi, the River Jordan.
Oh yeah, this is the one that gets crazy at the end. Yeah. So there's
And
a
the fact
bluegrass
that-
band from Alabama that's all over this song. They're called Act of Congress, and they're still doing it
Oh.
too.
Nice. Into the water.
Huh.
Oh, that's
So
poppy
good.
right there.
That is.
Yeah, it is.
Yep.
Who's doing all the clean vocals?
I was going to ask who that is.
I think that's probably Rodney. Is what it sounds like in Dallas. And
Okay.
then maybe I did background or there. I can't remember. I sing on this though somewhere as well.
I love the vocal trade-offs. It's
Mhm.
really
Yeah,
fun.
it's great. The call and response is cool.
Actually, you know what? So I'm recalling it now. There are literally like 4 or 5 different vocalists on this, like lead parts,
Oh, cool.
because of how we changed things up. I know for sure I sang on it. Rodney and Dallas, and then I don't even
Jake,
know the guy's
maybe?
name. No, this is that bluegrass part at the end where it starts to build up, you know.
Yeah.
There's like another guy, like some old guy that had like a.
Are we thinking of the next song?
I might be thinking of the
It
next
might be
song.
the next song. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's
Yeah,
definitely
yeah,
like
yeah.
an old voice. It reminds me of something from Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
We'll talk about it.
Yeah, this is what I'm thinking of. Is like
Mm.
4 or 5 different people sing on it.
That makes sense.
This is track 10, oh Lonely Grave. Let's just get into it.
Oh, Lonely Grave.
Okay. I did have one question about track 9, but
Nope.
I do also, yeah.
Nope.
Ask it, TJ.
Nope.
Ask it.
No, we're done. We're
okay.
moving on.
Well, it's quick. The title is different in different places.
Harvest Moon
Oh,
Change.
is
And I
it?
didn't know if you, Harvest Moon Hanging
Harvest Moon
is
Hanging.
on the
is on the CD.
liner notes, and Harvest Moon Changing is on streaming.
Oh, I didn't even notice that. It said
Really?
changing.
Yeah. So there was, but and it's nice because all you have to do to change the title is to add a C. But I didn't know if that was like a,
That is probably a very unfortunate typo.
Self harm, maybe, or
No, I like the label would have had to have uploaded these to Spotify or whatever. So I think that was probably a very unfortunate typo
somebody
that made
just
its way into
slapped an erroneous letter onto the song title.
Wow.
That's wild.
Yeah.
I was overthinking it, I guess.
Yeah,
That's
you
so
forgot
funny.
the possibility that someone in data entry is just bad at their job.
And the spell check was like, oh, that's still a word. No, there's no
Yeah.
reason to flag it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Harvest Moon Changing. That's funny.
That's what
Yep.
it says on Spotify.
That's more conspiratorial, which is more my wheelhouse now. That's like,
Yeah.
it's like blood moons and
Right.
stuff. I'm into that.
Mhm.
I kind of
Okay.
like the C. on
Yeah,
there.
it weirdly like
The
does
Harvest
work.
Moon was hanging, but now it's changing.
But now it's
Oh,
changing.
man. And what to? No one knows. Tune in next week.
Unsolved mysteries.
I guess we can talk about the song that you transitioned us to earlier, which is
Sure.
Oh Lonely Grave. So this, Roman, was the one you're talking about that has a lot of features on it.
Yeah, I don't know why we decided we were just going to do the craziest possible thing for us, which was like, let's make it go bluegrass to metal, over the course of
I
a
love
few
it.
minutes.
Yes.
It's
I
so
mean,
cool.
I think like if you're in a band like Maylene, you probably feel like you can get away with whatever. Like we
Yeah.
talked about. I do remember, like before we got into this record, we talked about having a bunch of stuff. We talked about a rapper that I won't name because it didn't go through, and I don't even think that he knew we were going to make an offer to him. But we talked about like even having a rapper show up on this record somewhere.
Really?
Yeah,
Interesting.
there was all sorts of stuff that was getting thrown around because of the situation, with like your like third record and new guys and
Yeah.
trying to make something happen or whatever.
Yeah, the Harvest Moon was changing, right? Like a lot of
was.
Yeah.
It
the
was a lot of
tides were coming
changing,
in and out. Why not a
What
rapper?
Yeah.
song was it? Was it one of the songs that made the record that y'all were talking about having the rap part on, or was that another?
I think the idea was if we did it, we were going to write a song around
Okay.
it. Yeah, write a song around that idea. It's funny because I can't remember which guy from the band, but there was one of the guys from the band that was like, absolutely not. We're not doing that. So we're not going to have a rapper on a Maylene record and kids will hate it. And I don't think that was the reason that it didn't go through. I think we were going to make an offer for someone to be on the record anyway, but yeah. And it might've all just been talk, you know what I mean? But it's just funny that kind of idea was getting thrown around, and then you start recording the record, you make your way all the way to whatever this song is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Kind of makes sense in its own weird way.
It's a
Totally.
big swing, but it's a fun way to kind of
it
like
is.
end or wind down the record.
Dude, once you
Yeah.
get a talk box on a song, you just don't turn back. Anything
right.
goes.
No rules,
Right.
man. Yeah.
I'm Peter Frampton now.
More talk, less box is what I say. You know,
Hey, if Maylene can't get away with this kind of thing, then who can, right?
Yeah.
I love that y'all took some big swings.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like other artists who've done it by now, probably or maybe even before us. I don't really know, but surely
Yeah.
someone's done it somewhere that maybe we were able to draw an idea from. But I just can't remember who.
Can we listen
Kyle-
to that section where it goes to hyperspeed? It's like
Yes.
125 ish, I think, is like just before it.
There's that talk
Yeah,
box
the return
again.
of the talk
back.
box,
That's
and then you just go off right here. I love it.
very metal. That's like,
It's like
modern metal.
It's like
It
if
is.
Avenged Sevenfold
Completely.
didn't suck.
Yeah, I was literally thinking that exact same thing.
well, and then Kylan, you mentioned it, but the beginning feels very "Oh brother, where art thou?" Was that like something
Yeah.
that, especially even like the "Oh death"
The Oh Death
line? Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
When did Oh Brother Where Art Thou come out? Wasn't it like
2003.
2003 or something like that? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we were late to the party on that one, I guess. But I actually just saw a movie that this song would have been perfect for if it were trying to go across the genres. The movie called Sinners. Have you guys
Oh,
seen
I
it?
haven't seen
Oh,
it
the
yet.
new one.
Dude, Sinners is one of the best movies I've seen in a
I
long
want to see it
time.
in IMAX. I know it's playing like in
Yeah.
Dallas and a couple places in IMAX.
Dude, see it on the biggest possible screen you can. It's rad.
This has been Movie Jams Now.
Yep.
I didn't
Roman,
even do
it may
it,
not be
Josh.
too late.
Kylan's so happy.
You should pitch this song to make it
Right.
into the streaming version of the
to
film.
the home release.
There you go.
Yeah.
It could
Why not?
totally work.
Hit up Ryan
It could totally
Coogler
work.
on LinkedIn.
There you go.
Yep.
He'll go for it.
No, this was the song that I had the note on. That it's the story of like that we've kind of heard before from Maylene of like one brother surviving, but it definitely does feel like it has like a new meaning because like you and Dallas are the only brothers that survived to like make this record. So
Yeah.
it works on that level too, which is cool.
Yeah, we did, I guess, sort of nail the where you need to blur the lines between reality and the shtick.
Fiction, yeah.
Which is-
It's true.
yeah. We got that part down.
Unintentionally.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was unintentional. You know, maybe like the only person who would have pieced all that together would have been Jason Elgin, you know, and I'm sure just somewhere along the way he was like, yep, we're making this do this here and this do this here because that's where you guys are at in your actual
Helping you tell the
lives.
story. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's really cool.
is
I mean,
Yeah.
there is a lot of like cinematic energy on this album. The intro, like we talked about, and also like where it does change to the kind of moody, like soupy southern instrumental section at 2:15. The strings are gorgeous. It's this kind of sweeping cinematic, yeah, like you said, Josh, wind down to the album. And I love that it exists because it gives some gravitas and some context to it, to, you know, the southern metal storytelling.
Yeah.
Which is
And
awesome.
I don't fully know how to articulate this, but I do feel like the end of "Oh Lonely Grave" and then the next song, "The End Is Here, the End Is Beautiful," are such a good wind down, not just for this record, but to me feel like the wind down of what I see as Maylene and the Sons of Disaster, the band. Like it feels like a good ending. So then
Yeah.
when 4 comes out, it's almost like, you know, you watch an incredible Spider-Man movie and then they like reboot it 2 years later and you're like, what the fuck is this?
Here's Toy Story
is
4. Yeah.
like why is this here?
We didn't need it.
Like we didn't
We're
need
good.
it. It was good. It was fine. It was perfect. We don't need it. Or like Arrested Development
that
season
mean-
4.
But
Yeah,
listen,
exactly.
does that
We
mean that
didn't
Toy
need this.
Story 4 was a bad movie? No.
No, but I'm trying to find a bad example, which I
know.
I think Arrested Development. is
Arrested
probably-
Development works.
and
yeah.
it ties back to
Call back to
Yeah,
our
exactly.
Roman interview. Yeah.
Yeah, Roman, don't feel obligated to comment on that. That's just my personal opinion.
No, it's great.
He wasn't in the band. He agrees with you.
Right. I feel like the end of this record feels like a perfect, almost cinematic end to like the Maylene and the Sons of Disaster, the sort of canonical story concept, and the band like the way that I viewed the band, like those first 3 records, trilogy,
Yeah.
boom, and then you're done. But
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, there was some like real tie-in there. I remember Jason Elgin telling me at one point during the making of this record that in a way we were going to be like a cover band, from
Wow.
that point on. Yeah. And at the time I took it not the right way at all. It felt mean. Jason's just very direct.
right,
It's not even intended to be like a mean thing or anything like that.
No.
But he, in a sense, like, I think he was kind of right about at least that iteration of Maylene at the time. Those dudes went on to make a 4th record for sure. And, I think a lot of it worked out probably the way it needed to in the sense that they're still going,
right.
which is cool. There, not a lot, obviously, with Dallas' situation. And then I think they've got I want to say the only thing I've seen them book for is the Emo's Not Dead cruise is the only thing I saw.
Wow.
So, like, that's something they'll do. It's cool that stuff like that lives on, I guess. But, in a way, at least for me, for sure, like the 3rd record is the death of whatever that version of Maylene was. And I've, like from time to time, periodically when I'm making music, I think about like what it would be like to make another Maylene record and do it with Jason and like some of the original guys and all that. But if we did it, it definitely wouldn't be, I don't know, it wouldn't be 4 or 5 or anything like that. It would be something totally different. So
sure.
I think you're on point with what you're saying there for sure.
Yeah, I was curious if the title, like, I was like, am I reading too much into the title, or were there any thoughts that this might be like the final Maylene song or record when y'all were doing this?
I don't think there were. I think the thought was we could make a record like this that would get us to a place where we could go make an even more accessible record, which I kind of think they went for on the 4th album anyway. And then let the band kind of progress from there, so that we would actually like make a living off of it,
Yeah.
Yeah, once the record was done and we heard it and all of that, it's funny, I initially quit Maylene in May, which is hilarious. May of that year, I initially quit the band and told the guys, like, hey, I'm pretty sure I'm done doing this for now. And a few of those guys convinced me to stay on and wait for at least the release of the new record to see what it did,
Yeah.
And it's like you said, like we had all this hype from the industry guys, and then we had our highest debut on the Billboard charts ever. But like, I want to say, it's funny that like that you guys mentioned that, because I want to say that literally the next week it like dropped out of the top 200, like we weren't even charting. And when that happens, you're not getting anywhere. That's for sure. So all that I had in front of me was like another 18 months of an album cycle that was like the same as the first 2 I'd experienced already, and I wasn't
run its course.
Yeah. So yeah, in a way, I'm glad that even if it wasn't super intentional, that you could see that in this record in a certain sense, because it needed a bow on it for sure.
Yeah.
The second record didn't have that, and so good that this one did.
Feels like the end of an era.
Yeah.
Love a good trilogy,
Exactly.
Yeah.
The end is here. The end is beautiful. The end is the last song.
It is. I did want to ask Roman, because there were, which if you left in May of, or like a little bit after the record came out, because there were the 2 bonus tracks that got released later.
Yeah, and I sang on those, and I think we wrote. So it's funny because, like, sometimes I think about if I had not left when I did and had a chance to make a 4th record, because those 2 bonus tracks were songs that we wrote, just like out of nowhere on the road, like in a van.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
Wow.
So were those part of this album session, or did y'all?
I
Like, go
think
back
they
later
were
to record
post.
them?
Yeah, I
Okay.
think like once this record came out, we had a bit of a template that the newer guys were, excited about, and were like, "Oh, okay, like, this is how you get to a Maylene record in a certain way." So,
Yeah, makes sense.
yeah, Matt, like one of those songs, Matt Clark wrote. Like he was our drummer, but
Cool.
he was just messing around on guitar, and he was like, "Hey, I think I got a song idea," and you know, you send it. We sent like a phone recording of it off to Jason, and he was like, "Yeah, we can do that for like B-side stuff,"
Right.
So kind of fun that it made out that way.
Yeah.
Cool. Very cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Nice. I didn't mean to go out of order. I didn't know. I thought we'd already talked about the last track.
I
but
mean,
if
we
anyone
kind of
has
had, but I
anything-
had to.
Yeah.
But I have to. I just had to.
You had to. Yeah, you had to put the.
I mean,
bow
we
on it,
did.
you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Didn't wanna
Nice.
skip anything.
Right. Okay. We did it. We listened.
Did it.
We listened track by track, except for the bonus tracks, through 3 by Maylene and the Sons of Disaster for our 3rd annual Maylene. What do we do next, Josh? I don't.
I love it.
Yep.
Kylan's
that's it.
just phoning.
I'm just gonna.
But
let
I
it in.
start.
Yeah,
I
you'll
start
figure
so
it out.
confidently,
And he's, like,
right?
handing
Like you
Josh
guys
the
are
phone.
like prepared for me to
He's like,
carry you
it's for
through.
you.
And then, yeah.
It's for you, Josh.
I mean, I would love to hear Roman's thoughts on it, since who knows?
too.
Since this was the first time since you've listened to it in a
Yeah.
while,
How do you feel about it?
seems.
Do you like it?
Yeah, how did it hit you?
I'm surprised at how much fun it is to listen to. Yeah, I hate to ever say like how good something is that I was a part of, because I don't.
You can say it.
Well, that's why we're
Say
here.
it.
The record is really good.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
rips, man.
It does feel like it's a good record, like surprisingly better than I remember even, So
Cool.
I can't personally take credit for that in my own way, but or all to me at least. It's definitely, it was a super collective effort to make a record happen, But yeah, I'm glad how it turned out, and like hearing y'all's perspectives on it, helps me get some perspective on it a lot too. So that's good. Yeah, I mean, I listen to so much stuff now that, I'm always searching for something that feels really good, and so hearing this back, I'll probably go back and listen to it a little more often now, because, it's interesting, some of the stuff on there. It's a little more jumpy than I maybe realized.
Yeah, yeah. Because it does. Yeah, I think it feels like the perfect progression
Yep.
for the band. Like it's still like, you are kind of dipping your toes into a more commercial space production wise, but you still are like operating under the same rules sort of that the first 2 records had. It just feels like you're a little bit older. You
Mm-hmm.
a little bit like not less chaotic, but almost like, you were talking about like having the new guys come in that are like a little more mature. It just feels all like a little tighter, which is crazy.
Yeah, the chaos has been honed.
It's crazy
in a good
that
way.
it's like so many new members, and it just
Yeah.
it feels tighter.
Yeah, and but
Yeah.
it still has the same spirit of Maylene that the other 2 records displayed.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
I'll say this, after hearing it, like, part of me would love to have heard like another version of that record, like another, whatever the next thing would have been. They didn't really go for that on the 4th album. They also changed producers too, so
Yeah.
that's going to have a lot to do with it. But
Yeah.
stuff like that's hard to recapture. It's hard to capture it at all in the first place. So
Right.
recapturing it would probably be even more difficult. But I think it's there because you have a good template
Yeah, for sure.
based on how
Totally.
the progression of the record goes all the way through.
Agreed.
Yep.
Agreed. Well said.
Josh, do we have anything else? I think we're
I mean,
about close to wrapping up.
I think that's about it. I will say, for me personally, diving back into this record was definitely. I think I didn't give this record enough credit. Like, it was so much so like this was the record that like catapulted Maylene to be one of my favorite bands. But then I was like all like 1 and 2, and like 2. This record felt like maybe a little too like pristine and polished, and then I wasn't into like the classic rock solos. I was like, I just want the blues scale solos. But like this last week or so listening to this record, I was like, I was not giving this record near enough credit. There's a reason why this was the one that like kind of like helped catapult
Got you.
like
Yeah,
what got me. And then specifically, I was really loving a lot of like the more kind of linear, which we talked about, like this, how this blends 1 and 2 is like, obviously it leans a lot more of like, you got some very structured songs, but you do have those moments of settling scores and even a little bit of Harvest Moon hanging, and then definitely like Oh Lonely Grave to wrap it up.
Harvest Moon what?
Harvest Moon Changing.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah,
Sorry, I didn't know what you were talking about for a second.
Yeah. I just said I say the wrong thing all the time on this show. That those are like, I was really enjoying the more like the linear aspects of those songs and how that like it does kind of blend some of the cooler parts of 1 and 2 together on this record to bring it all together and also wind it down.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, I have to bring up briefly. So the episode of Church James Now that came out today, as we're recording this, we did Reliant K's self-titled. TJ introduced into the canon the lawn bop.
I did indeed.
Because you mowed the lawn while listening to that record.
Correct.
I will say today specifically, it was very humid, hot, sticky, and I mowed today and listened to this record, and it was fucking perfect. So this is a certified lawn bop for me.
Official lawn bop.
There we go.
Official stamp.
Stamp it.
Yep.
Get me a sticker.
I love it.
Certified lawn bop.
It's catching on, you guys. Lawn bop.
It's taking over the mind
time
bop
for summer too.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'll be doing a lot of lawn bopping this summer.
for sure. A lot of lawn bopping on Church James Now throughout the summer.
If I can get a CJ and lawn bop playlist on Spotify or something, that'd be
we'll hook you up.
100%.
much appreciated.
I'll make you a sticker too. It says certified
Thank you.
lawn bop.
Certified.
Just slap that on the side of your lawnmower.
Slap that.
Sweet. Okay, listeners, if you enjoyed this, we have more nonsense like it at patreon.com/churchjamesnow podcast. And of course, from all of us here at the CJN crew, may all your favorite bands stay together. And peace out, Mom Frères.
Peace.
And we'll see you next year for Maylene 4.
Maylene 4. Roman, you coming back for Maylene 4? That could be the episode you were talking about.
That could be
where
the
someone
trash
comes
episode.
and roasts an entire record.
Settle some scores.
I have some thoughts on that record.
Just roast the whole record. That'd be
I do
hilarious.
too. I don't know. Yeah, I do too.
Tune in a year, y'all.
Yeah, it's a great teaser, guys. Great teaser.